Good morning. I'm Philip Mead, a chartered surveyor, rural chartered surveyor based in the West Midlands on the Welsh borders. I do a lot of arbitration, rural arbitration work, and I'm here this morning to go through dealing with agricultural assets and property disputes, an introduction to rural arbitrations. The webinar I'm doing this morning is separated notionally into four segments. We'll look at the background to arbitration, some interlocutory or sort of ongoing matters as the arbitration process proceeds before the hearing itself, and then what we would call post-award matters, matters that happen after the arbitrator has made his award. To start with, we'll look at the statutory framework. The key acts in rural arbitrations are the Arbitration Act from 1996, and now the more recent Arbitration Act from 2025. That hasn't made any huge differences to the process of arbitration under rural framework, but there are a couple of changes that might have an impact on rural arbitrations, which I'll have a look at. But the main two acts, other than the Arbitration Act, that you'll come across in dealing with rural arbitrations, certainly in the landlord and tenanted sector, is the Agricultural Holdings Act of 1986 and the Agricultural Tenancies Act of 1995. There was also the Agriculture Act of 2020, which introduced some more grounds on which an arbitrator could make a decision under the rural provisions. Things like landlord's consent for improvements. So if a tenant wants to do some improvements on his farm and the landlord doesn't agree to them, then you can go to arbitration over whether or not the consent should be granted. But other than that, these are the main acts that you should deal with or will come across in terms of disputes that can go to arbitration. Typical arbitration matters that are arbitrated under these acts, usually rent reviews. A majority of appointments that I get as arbitrator tend to be rent reviews under the two acts there, the 86 Act and the 95 Act. Notices to quit. So you might have a notice to quit served on the tenant, and the parties can't agree on whether the notice was valid or whether the notice should be upheld. So as an arbitrator, I'll often deal with those. Notices to remedy and notices to do repairs are also another grounds on which a matter can go to arbitration.